Alright, welcome guys to another video, and today we'll be working question 2 from the January 2021 mathematics paper. So here goes. Question 2a says factorize completely the expression. So what we have is 12n squared minus 4mn. So what we always do is to first identify what is our common factor. So from these terms, what is our common factor, as it is our common factor that we'll be using to divide into each term. So what we have is, from the numbers we can identify that 4 is a common factor. So remember that 4 is common. 4 can divide into both 12 and 4 equal without leaving a remainder. And from our unknown variables, the n squared and the mn, what we can identify is that n is the other common factor. So therefore it will be 4n. So what we're going to do now is to divide each term by the common factor, which is 4n. So what we'll have is 12n squared, and that is divided by 4n minus 4mn, and that is divided by 4n. So basically what we'll have down here is our common factor goes on the outside, which is 4n, and 4n into 12n squared. So 4 into 12 goes 3 times. N into n squared will leave us with n, and then we have 4 into a negative 4 will leave us with a negative 1, and n into mn will leave us with m, and therefore this is our answer, 4n and in bracket 3n minus 1m, and that is our answer for part A. Part B now says, part 1 says, show that x over 1 minus x minus 4x is equal to x, then in bracket 4x minus 3 over 1x. So what we're doing, we're showing that x divided by 1 minus x minus 4x is equal to that on the right hand side. So what we'll do first is find our LCM. So remember now, 4x would be the same as 4x divided by 1, which means that in this instance our common denominators here are 1 minus x and 1. So therefore our LCM will be the 1 minus x and the 1. So what we'll do now is to say 1 minus x into 1 minus x and 1 will leave us with 1. So what we now have is 1 multiplied by x, which will give us 1x, and 1 into 1 will leave us with 1 minus x. So what we'll have now is 4x being multiplied by 1 minus x. So what we're going to do is to work out that portion of the fraction before we continue. So we have our LCM, which is the 1 minus x and then 1. So therefore we have 1x minus 4x plus 1 will leave us with a minus 4x, and then 4x multiplied by a minus 4x will leave us with a positive. So remember, a negative times a negative will give us a positive 4x squared. So now what our answer will be is, so now this 1x minus 4x So this 1x minus 4x will leave us with a minus 3x, and we have back our plus 4x squared. And what we can also appreciate is that down at the bottom with our common denominator, with our LCM, when we do 1 multiplied by what is in bracket, we know that our answer will remain as 1 minus x. So even if you have 1 minus x multiplied by 1 or 1 minus x by itself, that is the same thing when you work that out and simplify. So now from our minus 3x plus 4x squared, we're just going to rewrite it in the format of having the 4x squared in the front. So what we'll have is 4x squared minus 3x, and that is divided by the, we're now just going to have 1 minus x. So what we know is that from this 4x squared minus 3x, what is common now up top, because that's what they did in the question, they factorized. So what we have that is common from the 4x squared and the 3x is x. So therefore it is x we say x into 4x squared will leave us with 4x, and x into a minus 3x will leave us with minus 3, and then that is divided by the 1 minus x, and that is our answer. And we just prove that x over 1 minus x minus 4x is equal to x, then in bracket 4x minus 3 over 1 minus x. So we just prove that to be our answer. Part 3 now says, hence solve the equation, and our equation is x divided by 1 minus x minus 4x is equal to 0. Since we had solved up top and we know what this would have worked out to be, which should have been the x then 4x minus 3, with all of that being divided by 1 minus x. So remember, we just proved that that is what it would have worked out to be, being equal to 0. So what we're going to do is to remove this 1 minus x from the denominator portion on the left hand side to across the equal sign, where it will now be multiplied with 0. So what we'll have is x then in bracket 4x minus 3 is equal to 0 multiplied by 1 minus x. And we know that any number multiplied by 0 will give us basically 0. So therefore what we'll have is x being multiplied by 4x minus 3 is equal to 0. So now our two possible values for x is equal to 0, which is our common factor out there that we had used to factorize, or x is equal to 4x minus 3. So I already solved that all of our possible values for x is 0. So therefore it's now to finish the 4x minus 3. So it is x is equal to 0, or 0 is equal to 4x minus 3. So we're equating each term here. X is equal to 0, or 4x minus 3 is equal to 0. So now solving for that, so 4x minus 3 is equal to 0. So therefore 4x is equal to a positive 3, as the 3 was negative here. So when it comes across, it will become positive. So therefore x is equal to 3 divided by 4. So our two possible values for x is that x is equal to 0, or x is equal to 3 over 4, and those are our two possible values for x. Part C now says make V the subject of the formula of P is equal to the square root of 5 plus Vt. So what we know is that we'll first have to square both sides of the equation. So when we do that, when we square both sides of the equation, this will remove the square root sign that is currently on the right hand side of the equation. So therefore what we'll have is p squared is equal to 5 plus bt. So when we square the right hand side, it would automatically remove the square root sign that is currently on the right hand side. So now next what we can move is the 5, which is currently adding on the right hand side. So when it comes across the equal sign, it will then subtract. So therefore what we'll have is p squared minus 5 is equal to vt. So we both basically subtracted 5 from both sides of the equation. So now we can move the t from the right hand side. It was multiplying with the v, so when it comes across it will be divided, or it's the same as we're dividing both sides of the equation by t. So therefore what will that be is p squared minus 5 is divided by t is equal to vt divided by t. So therefore that will basically cancel out. So this t will cancel out with that t. So therefore our answer is p squared minus 5 divided by t is equal to v. And that is our answer for making v the subject of the formula from p is equal to the square root of 5 plus vt. Part D now says the distance needed to stop a car d varies directly as the square of the speed. So d varies directly, as the square of the speed. So we're squaring our speed at which it is traveling. So therefore this will be the same as d is equal to k, which is our constant. So d multiplied by k s squared. So k is our constant of proportion, just writing as we go along. Then the question continues to say a car traveling at a speed. So now we have some variables coming in. So our speed is equal to 70 kilometers per hour. So 70 kilometers per hour at a distance of 40 meters to make a stop. What is the distance traveling required to stop a car traveling 80 kilometers? So now they're giving us a different scenario. So from our formula of d is equal to k s squared, they gave us speed and they gave us distance. So now that means we can find out what is our constant of proportion, which is our k value or constant. So once we work that out, then it applies for any other question that would be used in this regard. So therefore we need to find out what k is, and then that will allow us to find what distance is required to stop a car traveling 80 kilometers per hour. So what we know is that distance, which is equal to ks squared, or distance is 40, is equal to k, and our s now, which is 70 kilometers per hour, which is squared. So therefore 40 is equal to k, and when we square 70 we get 4,900. So now we need to solve for k. So if the 4,900 was multiplying on the right hand side, when it comes across it will be dividing. So what we'll have is 40 divided by 4,900 is equal to k, which is our constant. So therefore when we work that out, so 40 divided by 4,900, and we'll get 8.163 times 10 to the, so times 10 to the negative 3 is equal to k. So this is our value for k. So now we can go ahead and solve for what distance is required. So what distance is required to stop a vehicle traveling 80 kilometers per hour. So now using our same formula, of distance is equal to ks squared So now we're trying to find distance, which is equal to k. We know what our k value, which is 8.163 times 10 to the negative 3 being multiplied by s, and in this case now our s is 80 kilometers per hour, and that is squared. So therefore when we work that out, so when we do 8.163 multiplied by 10 to the negative 3 multiplied by 80 squared, what we'll get is d is equal to 52.24, well 2432, and we can write meters, and then we can write that to 2 decimal place. So therefore the distance is equal to 52.24 meters, and this is it written to 2 decimal places. And that is our answer, and that is the end of question 2. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in question 3.